Guys, we're going to have a great episode today. Before we get into that, I want to thank you guys, the listeners, for all the support that you get. I want to remind you that you can reach out to me on Instagram. If you don't follow it at JScottOutdoors. Feel free to send me a DM. I love corresponding with you guys about your hunts and any questions that you might have. We're going to have a great episode. I also want to thank the sponsors of this podcast. I want to thank GoHunt.com. Cody Nelson, my friend of 20 plus years, he's the glassing guru, the optics authority. He's the optics manager over there at GoHunt.com at the gear shop. You can reach out directly for info or for sales at 702-847-8747. You can also email him at optics@gohunt.com. He also gets texts from my listeners on his cell phone, 602-399-3699. Feel free to send him a text if you're looking for a certain tripod or binocular or spotting scope or rifle scope, anything to do with optics. Give Cody Nelson a call or a text. I want to thank GoHunt.com also and remind you guys that the GoHunt maps, the mobile app, mapping apps, are now available on iTunes and Android. They have real 3D. It's awesome 3D mapping on these mobile apps. You can get a free trial, a 7-day free trial, by going to gohunt.com/JScott. You can also check in the show notes. I'll have it linked up. You get a 7-day free trial. That gives you access to everything in the Insider, as well as let you look at the mapping apps both on the desktop and on your phone. You can also sign up by going to gohunt.com and just use JScott, and that's going to save you $50. You're actually going to get a GoHunt gift card, $50 GoHunt gift card when you sign up. So go check it out. Also want to thank KUIU Ultralight Hunting. That's the gear that I wear on all of my hunts. Go to KUIU.com to order the gear right there that are direct-to-consumer model. So that's the only place you can get the gear, as well as phonescope.com. Use the JScott21 promo code and you're going to get a 10% discount. Guys, let's get right to this episode. And again, thanks for listening. Guys, welcome to the J. Scott Outdoors podcast. Today we've got Jason Bond of Bond Trophy Outfitters. Jason, how you doing?
Doing great. Thanks, Jay.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on here. We've got a deadline coming up the 14th of June, and talking mainly Arizona deer and sheep on this application draw period. And I wanted to get your take on the units that you like to hunt and what you're seeing, and kind of get a forecast from you. So what are we looking like out there in your units?
Well, I think like everybody in Arizona probably knows, we're pretty dang dry right now. They're up on the strip. There's some spotty stuff that has really good looking feed, 13A and 13B. But for the overall most of it, I mean, it's just going to be another drought year. I mean, there's going to be some big bucks like always, but it's just not going to be a stellar year. I was just looking at some of the moisture contents, and 2022, this winter we recorded 56 inches of snow. Normally we're at 91 inches. 2021 we had 93 inches, and we know what 2021 produced. So I'm expecting pretty much the same results as 2021. We did have a great monsoon last summer. The deer looking healthy still. I just it's a guessing game at this point for another 4 to 5 weeks. But there's going to be some good deer, but it's going to be a year like 2021. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I just anybody with a lot of points, minus non-residents, with 90-something people left with max points, I think you probably ought to sit out as a resident.
Do you think the Kaibab is as affected as the Strip in drought years like this?
Not at all. It never has been. Yeah, it's not near as good as it could be with a great year, but moisture-wise, the Kaibab is just high. The storms pile around there and produce moisture. 12B doesn't have a lot of feed in it right now, but there's no deer in 12B either. Well, the Paria has some deer in it, but the majority of deer are going to migrate there. So right now they're not feeding in those units, but the 12A, 12A West, 12A East, the feed's fine up on top. 12A East doesn't look near as good as 12A West.
Talk about
So,
the big fire that they had there in 12A West and how that has matured and how you think that will play into this season.
yeah, I'm excited to hunt it. I didn't hunt it last year. I had some big bucks in other places that I ended up hunting. So, um, I try to stay out of the worm fire, but that mangum fire that started, I believe it was 2 years ago now. There was deer in it last year. The feed wasn't that great in it. I'm expecting better feed this year. Next year, even better feed, and the year after, even better feed. But it's really spread a lot of people out. Those deer were on the fringes of it last year, kind of in and out of it, like they are in the worm fire. But yeah, I think that's going to open up that early hunt a lot better. The late hunt, those deer like to hang out in that stuff too. So there's always the opportunity for somebody on a late hunt that wants to get away from people to stay up on top.
Do you think people that are really chasing after the strip? I mean, you field calls all the time about people that are, going
Yep.
back and forth of should I just stop chasing the strip and should I go with the Kaibab? How do you answer that question?
It really depends on their points, their age, non-resident, resident. There's a lot to play into that in answering that question rather than say a blanket answer. It's pretty tough. Non-residents with maximum points, they're in a pickle. That's a tough one for them. So I would say non-residents with max points and even one less than max probably ought to start considering 12A West, 12B West, 13A, 13B, opening their choices up a little bit. It's tough to sit back on the strip. I'm not too excited about the strip. I will be in about 3 to 5 years. I think that's when the strip's going to come back and we're going to have some good times on the strip.
Why do you think that?
We're right now probably in a 3-year drought, I would say. 2020, when I killed my big buck up there with my bow, was a tough year. 2021, obviously a tough year. I think 2022 is going to be a tough year. There's a lot of bucks that are getting kind of not looked at that have the potential. And those bucks are going to be hitting that 6, 7, 8-year-old range here in 3 to 5 years. And hopefully we get some moisture. Cameras are going to play into that a little bit. I don't know what the regulation is going to be up there. I don't know how many guys are going to run cameras. I don't know. This year will be the telltale sign of that. But there'll be deer slipping through the cracks. So there's going to be deer to hunt on the strip that people don't know about, similar to what it was pre-2008, 2007. Where you could go up there, pick a spot, draw a 20-mile circle, and there might be a 300-inch deer in there that nobody knows about, or there might be a 180 deer as the biggest deer in there. You just don't know. And if it gets back to that, I think there's some excitement, at least for me, to go up there and have some mystery back in the hunt.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Do you believe that over time, say a 5-year time, without having trail cameras, do you think the age class will be higher or lower than it is right now?
I think it's going to be about the same, but there's going to be some older deer. That middle of the road is going to, I think continuously get hit. But there's going to be some of those deer that slip through the cracks because, I think everybody can agree that a 220 deer that hits camera right now is going to get targeted pretty heavy. And if he's not on camera, there's nobody to target him, right, except for the guys that are up there all the time that know about him. So I think there's going to be a lot of 175 to 195 type deer killed, with the occasional deer, getting in. The handful there are going to break that 200-inch number every year with a couple big ones. But there's going to be deer that are going to slip through the crack, and we're going to see, some of these deer hitting that 250, 260, 270, 280 mark again that we don't see anymore.
Do you think that the hunting itself, the experience of hunting in the next couple of years on the Strip, will be better or worse than it's been?
It'll be 100% better.
Why?
Because hopefully, the way it works up there right now, there's certain guys that like to hunt certain places, and that's me, that's the Bundys, that's Tori, that's pretty much anybody up there. But with cameras, we can go like, hey, we got this buck over here, so 85 people show up there opening morning. Second morning after that buck's dead, there's 65 people that show up at this buck. That's not going to happen anymore. So I think you're going to be able to go up there in 3 to 5 years, pick yourself a spot, and there could be a deer or 5 that got overlooked because it hadn't been hunted. I think there'll be some flying around to identify some deer. Anybody with the statewide tags won't be able to do that, obviously, because they've got statewide tag holders in their pocket where they can't fly during a season. But I think it's going to spread people out.
Okay. Do you think, even though cameras have been outlawed and banned, will it surprise you to go up on the Strip this year and still see cameras? In other words, do you think there's going to be some people that are not playing by the rules?
100%. Yeah, there's cameras up there right now.
Okay.
Yeah, there's cameras up there right now, and time will tell what'll happen there. One of the big things that you're not going to do now that you did last year is go up there and I would leave on a Tuesday, Wednesday. I'd start driving a circle basically for cameras, and I could hit 40 cameras in a day or 35 cameras in a day depending on where you're at. Well, now I'm not going to be doing that because I'm not driving to 35 or 40 drinkers in a day. So I don't know who's going to manage that, and I don't know who's going to check that many drinkers. The only reason to drive around 2,000 miles in 3 days checking cameras is to check checking waters is to check cameras.
Right.
So now your time is going to be spent spotlighting, middle of the night, and it's going to be spent mornings and evenings at that prime glassing time, and that's it. And you know what it's like glassing. I mean, some of that country is really tough to glass.
Yeah, you can know that they're there, and you still don't see them for 3 or 4 days or a week, or never see them at all, and they're right
100%,
there.
100%. So if you've got a glassing knob and you get up there and you glass, well, you might not see a big deer. Well, are you going to go back? How many days are you going to spend there until you do see a big deer? That's going to be the big question, I think, and that's what I'm really excited for. Is there's only so much time an outfitter even is going to be able to spend up there scouting to make any kind of money whatsoever. Is he going to put 30 days in on glassing knobs? Is he going to put 45 days in? Is he going to put 3 days in? How many days are you going to spend driving and spotlighting? How many days are you going to spend glassing? It's gonna boil down to a money thing where there's only so much time you have in a day, and how much you can put into a guided hunt before you're losing a lot of money.
Sure, understood.
Where cameras were the opposite, right? So you could spend 5 days setting all your cameras or 6 days setting all your cameras, go back in a month and a half, run all your cameras in another 5 days, go back, a month and a half later, run them all again. Well, you just had 10 or 15 days in on cameras, and you basically got a 90% inventory on the unit.
Sure. It's going to eliminate that for sure,
yeah.
And it's going to bring some of the old school tactics back in. I've got to think it's going to spread people out a little bit. Like you said, I mean, they would, every outfitter there'd be 85 people on one buck, and then that buck gets killed, so they, all move to the number 2 buck, and then that gets, so it's going to eliminate some of that. I do agree with that for sure.
Yeah, that's and the Strip's a big place, and there's deer in about 95% of it or 90% of it. So there's going to be some deer down in some of that desert country that get really, really big because a lot of people hunt the same stuff. And the only reason they were getting killed before is because there was a picture of them.
What do you think about the tag reductions? How's that going to play into your 3 to 5 year, it's going to get pretty good?
I really wish they would have cut them more. 13B went down to 65 tags, 13A 35 tags. Some of the archery hunts got cut. Kaibab got cut. Juniors are down to 25 doe tags compared to, 5 years ago we were at, I don't know, 700, 800 tags, something like that.
Yeah.
The deer are decimated right now. I mean, they are, I hate to, like I said, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but, this drought we're in, the fawn survival rate has been terrible. People have gotten very effective in success rate and killing stuff. I, I, I guess what I'm hoping for is good monsoons to where these deer have a chance to hide in the grass and can survive, and we get some decent fawn recruitment back, and the numbers start coming back, and maybe that'll take cutting more tags, which I don't think would be a bad idea. Dropping that 13B to 40 tags. I think that would help out quite a bit. But the hunting experience, another aspect of it, it's a better hunt.
Yeah.
You take out 20, 30 tags out of each one of those hunts, and that's a lot less people when everybody brings 3 to 5 guys a piece up there.
Sure, it adds up. I mean, every 5 to 10, 5, 10, 15, 20 tags that get cut is another, 3 to 5 person per camp. So, I mean, that adds up to hundreds of people, less people.
100%.
For sure.
If you look at that 12A West stuff, I mean, that late hunt's down to 50 tags. That is nothing compared to what it used to be.
It was at 100, wasn't it?
It was 150. It was up to 300 years ago. So 50 tags, I mean, that's nothing in that 12A West country.
What do you think about the quality in 12A West? Do you think it's increasing or decreasing? Do you think the age class and the quality of bucks are getting better?
I think it's about the same. Several years ago, maybe talking to you, I thought it was going to be coming up and coming up and coming up and getting better. I think it has gotten a little bit better. Still not back to the heyday, but there's some great bucks in there. I mean, we didn't. Well, I had a guy in 12B West on that late hunt last year that I hunted. We didn't kill a buck, but we had 3 bucks that were, I mean, unbelievable deer. Probably a 195 typical, and then 2 bucks over 200. The one was probably over 220. All 3 of those bucks made it through. We just never got a good shot at any of them, so never made it happen. But there's some great deer on the Kaibab. And again, with the surprise that should come from no cameras, if people follow the rules, I think that'll be exciting. I mean, the auction buck comes off the Kaibab last year, and the year before. That's going to happen more and more. So the genes are on the Kaibab. They've just got, like anywhere, they've got to have the feed and they've got to have age. Those are the 2 things.
Sure.
But the strip and the Kaibab for that matter, both of those are going to produce a 4-year-old deer that's going to hit 220, 230 every year. He's going to live in the right spot. He's going to have the right genetics. He's going to blow up from 3 to 4. And there's going to be a big buck. But guys that draw that tag this year that you're going to think they're going to kill 200-inch plus deer. I mean, it's just not going to happen.
What else, with the cameras being gone, are there any other units, obviously not to the caliber of the Kaibab, but do you think there'll be any other units that kind of surface as kind of sleeper units for, 180, maybe 190-inch type, maybe even better bucks? I mean, like a 10, or do you see anything out there that's?
Yeah, I mean, there's that caliber of buck, I think, in about every unit. I mean, I see them in 5B, I see them in 7, I see them in 9, I see them in 10, the 18s, the 17s. It's going to be a real interesting year, and what surfaces from it, I don't know. I expect this OTC stuff with the quotas on the deer. I mean, that's just time going to tell us if, hey, is there going to be any December hunting going on, any January hunting going on, or is it just is it going to end in August? I mean, I don't know. Uh, I would think the desert units will be open in the winter because most of those guys drive up to Flagstaff or White Mountains and get in the pine trees and do their hunting, in the cooler weather in August. So I don't know. I mean, 3A3C is always going to produce some great bucks. 23 is going to produce some great bucks. Like I said, 10, 8, 9, 7, 5B. They're all going to produce big bucks every year. It's just, your odds are a lot slimmer in those units than they are on, say, the North Rim of killing a big deer for sure.
Yeah. Man, it's
But
always
go ahead.
it's always great talking to you. What about elk for you this year? You got any big plans or any tags you drawn or anything?
No, we didn't draw any tags. I'll be out on an early rifle bull hunt and doing a couple things, but not too much. I'm kind of staying away from the elk stuff. So I'll be out with an old client and on an early rifle bull hunt, and then a couple buddies with some archery elk tags. But other than that, I'm probably going to stay away from it.
You've been pretty busy with real estate. It's kind of a passion of yours that's kind of come to fruition, hasn't it?
It has. It's probably one of the best moves I've done, both financially and freedom wise. Normally, I'd already be, got 15 days in on the strip by myself in the heat, and now I can sit in AC and talk to you. So it was a really good move. I got in. I know a lot of people in Flagstaff, so it obviously helped me out, word of mouth and referral based, and with some rentals that I have, and looking forward to just keep moving forward with it, and then be real selective on what I'm doing for hunts.
Awesome, man. Well, it's always great getting your perspective, and I wish you the best of success. I want to give you a chance to let people know how they could reach out to you, or how they could follow along, and I'll link it up in the show notes as well.
You bet. Yeah, so you can follow me at Bond Trophy Outfitters on Instagram or Facebook. My phone number, you can give me a call on that, 928-637-8378. If you got any questions on real estate or hunting or whatever, best of luck to you this year.
Awesome, man. Well, God bless. Thanks for coming on and sharing with us, and I'll see you down the road, okay?
All right. Thanks, Jay.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.